Good afternoon, beautiful people out there in the beautiful world and land of wherever you may be. I am Deshawn Antoinette Booker, and you know what? I'm your maximizing coach. But you know what? I am just the conduit for health and healing on a platform that my brothers and I are so excited to bring to you every single month. Welcome to the Legacy Project, JC Ferg. JC is Joyce Carol Ferguson, our mother. You know, sometimes we go through life and we wish that things didn't happen. Well, we wish that we still had our mother, Joyce Ferguson, with us here on this earth. We lost our mother in 2015 to complications to a brain aneurysm. As a result, I was down. They were like, well, yeah, we down, but we got to still move forward. And so God put it on our hearts to have a space so that we are able to really connect with others outside of ourselves and talking about the legacy that continues to move outward. Throughout every person that has lost someone, unfortunately. We're not here to talk about the easy parts, the sad parts, the dark hours, the highs, the lows. We are here to have full conversations and be transparent about legacy. What is legacy? Legacy is that not just that memory, but it is what lives on beyond a person's life on earth. What were their values, their characteristics? What did they leave behind that when we say their name, we go, yes, I feel that rumbling in my heart, right? When we know that that person that we loved all of our lives, that we knew them, has now said, I hand you the baton. I now give to you what I've been giving to you all of your life so that you can continue to live in your abundance and maximize your magnificence. And so that's what this place is all about. If you don't know who I am, I'm also the founder and creator of Maximizing Your Magnificence, where I actually work with beautiful women and men and really actualizing their gifts and reaching their highest potential. I work with powerhouse women in being intentional, living and working from a place of being having integrity so that they can manifest increase in every aspect of their life, both professionally and personally. So this is an extension of that platform, the Legacy Project. How can my brothers and I allow this platform to really be a conversation, to enlighten, to always allow us to empower so that we can make certain that the legacy lives through love, laughter, and light? So we are so grateful that you are with us today. Now listen, if you are watching us live, this is a conversation. This is a conversation. You can put your comments, your ideas, suggestions, if you need clarifications in the chat. We will always make sure that we are looking at the chat so we can have that dialogue. If you're watching the replay, go ahead and put hashtag replay and still write your comments, suggestions, whatever it is you have, your thoughts, and we'll make certain that we get back to you. That is our agreement. Another thing, this is a safe space. We want you to know that we come and we talk about all things safe, all things that are going to allow us to embrace the diversity of our journeys, right? Because it's the diversity of our journeys. No one has the same journey, and that is what makes it awesomely beautiful. I love it. So listen, I want you to let your family and friends know that you're here, you're watching it, so that they don't miss out on these juicy nuggets that we're going to give you through this phenomenal conversation. We have guests today. We've created a platform for you, and we have an awesome title. We're going to get to that title in just a moment and that topic. But as you know, if you've been following with us, and I thank you for doing so, I always introduce my brothers one at a time with what I call a cute antidote, a story, and they don't know what story that I am going to share. I am the oldest of three, and I love that, and I wear that on my shoulders proudly. Yes, I do. So I've had the ability to watch my brothers grow, become young men, and then talk about how they were when they were children, right? I think it's cute. So listen, let's just bring to the platform my brother Jermaine. But before we do, if you've been with us, I'm always sharing. Jermaine has always had a personality and a character trait where it's his world. We are just here, assisting him. And so I remember coming home one day. I don't know if I wasn't working or I got off work early or what happened, but Jermaine was still in high school. He was a senior. He was a very popular young man at school, Sarah High School in Gardena, all boys school at the time. I come home, and Jermaine has literally half of his classmates in the kitchen, in the living room, and he's serving up brunch, breakfast, cooking everywhere. I mean, they're laughing and talking, and Jay Ferg is cooking everything, and they're having a good time. And I'm like, Jermaine, what is going on? Now, of course, mom and dad, they're at school teaching, right? They're at work. Jermaine, what are you doing? Oh, there's nothing to shine. Everybody just here. We having a good time, He's just in the kitchen cooking, and they in the kitchen laughing and talking, and in the living room. And I just said, my brother, well, either I'm going to continue to fight this, I can't resist it, or just lean into it. So I fussed like I do. I fussed, and I just walked away. What was I going to do? They were having a wonderful time, and they were all great guys. Let's now, without any further ado, let Jermaine share his version of this story. Let's bring him to the platform. My little big brother, Jay Ferg, is in the building.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Let's go, let's go, let's go. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. We back, we back. Happy holidays, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We have some special guests, and good guests. That is a true story. Yes, I believe we did a ditch a day that day, and
Oh,
I was one of the popular ones on campus: football player, baseball player, basketball player. And I said, let's go to my house. I cook us up some food. We chill, hang out, and have a good time. And lo and behold, my sister came home. I knew my parents wasn't coming home till
right.
like 4 o'clock. My dad don't get home till like 5, 6. So I had enough time to get them there, feed them, have a good time, and then we can get out and be out. But lo and behold, my big sister come home and looking around, checking everybody out. But hey, you gotta, it is what it is. It
Jermaine,
happened.
so it was ditch day. That's what okay, okay. I said, what is all these? And they just having a ball, just laughing it up. I said, this Jermaine, and you were cooked. Was it breakfast food, Jermaine? Was it
It was
lunch?
like it was breakfast food, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
it was
You
like it was probably around. I think when you got there, it was probably like 11.
okay.
Let's say I'm just trying to think about 11, but we got there probably around 8 or 9 o'clock. That was
Wow.
for we did it twice. Our
Wow.
second dish day was at a park.
Okay.
At a
Okay.
park, and this is funny. The Gardena police came and took us all back to school.
No.
Yes, and then so mama and daddy's at work. Auntie Pat had to come pick me up from school. Yeah, we,
No.
we did dish day twice. The
Oh my
second one, the
goodness.
second one, the parents had to come get everybody that ditched.
I love it, Jermaine. I love it. Yeah,
But the
this
first one,
is
the first
sweet.
one was the first one was at the ranch. That
Yeah,
was planned.
yeah.
The second one, both of them was planned, but the first one, yeah, we was at the ranch, and
I
all
said,
all the whole cars was parked on the cul-de-sac and everything.
yeah, yeah. He had everybody there. I mean,
Mhm.
everybody. I was just, and I said, I can't fight this.
I
This
had
is,
the
yeah.
valedictorian was there. The smartest boy in the school came.
Right, right. He wasn't missing out. He wasn't
Mhm.
missing out. So this is my little big brother. So we're gonna introduce our next little big brother. Listen, so Jamar and I are 18 years apart. So I've had just a ball watching him really as a young baby till today. So his cute story that I'm sharing with him today is how every day, and I do mean every day, I don't mean once a week, every day when our dad came home from work, he had to have a gift, a treat, a trinket for Jamar. Jamar will run out of his room and make sure, Daddy, what do you have for me? And Daddy will go through, open up his briefcase, and he always had something for. I wonder if Jamar remembers that. Every single day my dad came home, he had to give Jamar something. So without any further ado, let's bring him into the platform. Jamar Ferguson, who's now 35 years old.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Happy holidays. I hope everyone is enjoying their day so far and getting all their Christmas presents and decorations in order, just like I am over here. We're over here going crazy.
I love it.
Yes, Deshaun, I remember, Daddy had to bring something home for me. Either it was like snacks from his lounge at work, or a Hot Wheel car from the store, something. But Daddy always came home. It was like cookies, chips, even just a soda. I didn't care what it was. And it was always in his brown leather briefcase. Remember that brown leather briefcase?
Yes,
and he still has it to this day.
Yes,
We're all beat up.
Yes.
Sometimes he would come home and forget. I would go through it, rummage through it, and I'll find my little treat. But yeah, that was the best. I needed something every day after Dad got home.
Every day.
Every day.
Do you remember how did that start? Did you ask, or did he just? Do you remember?
I think he probably started on his own, like bringing snacks home from, like I said, like in a teacher's lounge that he didn't eat. And so after that, I was like, well, where's the snacks? Where's that? But yeah, that was fun. That was a good time.
Yes. Listen, my brothers never know what story I'm going to offer to our viewers and our listeners, right? But it's just how we grew up. It is the legacy that we're talking about, and we can laugh about and share about it. And I have such a good time in my head going, ooh, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? Because I know they're not thinking about them probably the way that I am. But I remember Jamar. I just remember that and I would get a little, because I didn't get anything. He didn't bring nothing. Nope. It was just you. Yeah. It was just you. So I just always love to introduce them this way. And I want to thank my brothers for allowing us also to share, our family with yours and our journey with yours. Today's topic on the Legacy Project is really part 2. We did part 1 last month, and it was just such a successful show. It was a breakthrough show. It was quite anointing, and it just served at such a high level that we wanted to have part 2. And we're talking about spirituality, right, brothers? We're talking about how does one's spiritual beliefs, religion, your faith, right, your higher being, how does that play a role when you've lost a loved one? Lots of us think, I lost someone, am I out on my own? Am I just drifting? People are looking to you to turn to your faith, right? To stand in what you believe, so they can say, okay, where is that belief system today, in your hurt and your pain? And so we're talking about that today, healing from losing a loved one, a spiritual perspective, right? And so my brothers and I just want to quickly set the tone. We're talking about trusting again, having faith again, and finding peace again. And so trusting again, I forgot which one of us were going to share that one. Jermaine?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. It's about, the takeaway on this is trusting God again. And I never lost trust in God when Mom passed away. I know others feel differently. I've heard stories how people have asked God, why did you take my loved one away? Why did you take my mother, my dad, my family member, my cousin, my member? But with me, I never doubted him. Never doubted them. I never lost trust in them. I've always, God don't make mistakes. God does not make mistakes. So I never lost trust in him. And I try to encourage people that says, why? Just, hey, God doesn't make mistakes. Don't ever lose trust in God. God is God.
Thank you, Jermaine.
I agree.
Brother Jamar, having faith again. What did that look like for you, having faith again?
To me, having faith again is believing, believing that everything is going to be okay, even though you're going through a hard time or have lost someone. You're going to bounce back and everything's going to be fine. You're going to move on with life. Just like whoever you lost, they're going to realize, they don't want you to be down and out the entire time. So having faith to me is knowing that everything is going to be okay. You're going to move forward. You just have to have the good support system behind you, friends, family. But, having faith for me is like just knowing everything's going to be okay. That's how I move forward from it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Then finding peace again for me, it was a journey. I'm different from my brothers, and some of you out there can connect to all of us on the platform today, right? In some way. And for me, after losing mom, finding peace was a struggle because I'm gonna have peace and I'm not feeling peaceful. I'm
Right.
upset. I'm angry, right?
Uh-huh.
So the peace had to take a different um, look for me, different definition. I had to find the peace within my new self in this new normal. So
Mm-hmm.
my peace came different than it was prior to losing mom. It was now me making a choice to choose peace in the new Deshawn. What was I looking like now? And with
Mm-hmm.
dad and my brothers and my nieces and my nephews, right? And my, are my in-laws, how do I now find peace in this new nucleus? That
Mm-hmm.
was something that I had to say, we're still here. We still love each
Mm-hmm.
other. We can create new things to move forward. So I had to find a new piece for me. Not that it was made up or mechanical, but in the new normal of things. And so that's what I was able to do. So my brothers and I just wanted to, set that tone for you that, in talking about trusting God and having faith and having peace, it looks like everything that we said plus more. And so thank you, brothers, for sharing. As we're moving into where do we start, right? When we're talking about the healing process from a spiritual perspective. And we're talking about healing today at that spiritual level, because a lot of us are spiritual people, right? Or religious people. You believe in God, your higher being. How do you move towards that once you've lost a loved one and then maybe another lost one? Our first guest that I'm bringing in, we have three beautiful guests, first of all, for you today, and they're all over the United States, honey. They are here to share, and we're so excited. So we're going to talk quickly so we can bring everyone to the platform, right? Our first guest is Miss Denise Hawkins. Now, I've been knowing Denise Hawkins as long as she been knowing me since I was a little itty bitty girl. And my auntie Denise, but she's so much more than an auntie. She has an extensive knowledge and history that spans across healthcare, education, social services, government, and in her love for people, she has provided her spiritual connection and contacts and inspirational speaking, motivation. She's been she was in Hollywood, and now her children are doing the same in that industry. She's just been doing a wealth of everything. Jamar, this is Danny's mother. Danielle.
Yeah.
Right,
Danny, yes. I've been
right.
seeing her on all the commercials now. All the
Right. So
commercials.
her, she gets it from her mama. So listen, I'm so
Yeah.
excited that she's getting ready to come on here and give a little bit more about her bio, but she's also going to talk to us too about how when she lost both of her parents and she was moved to start a company, a business. I don't want to say it yet. I want her to say it. So without any further ado, I'm bringing into the platform, yes, Miss Denise Hawkins.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good
Hey.
morning. Oh my goodness. I was like, who is she talking about? Oh, that's me. So let me tell you a little about me. I come from a family of 10. There are 5 girls and 5 boys in a 2-parent household. And we had a lot of upbringing. And my mother her legacy was love. I never met anyone that didn't love her. I actually used to get jealous and say, she's not your mom. Don't call her that. So I grew up a very excelled student. My first job, I actually worked at NASA at Brook Park Research Center in Cleveland, Ohio at 14 because I had enough credits to graduate high school, but I was legally too young. I've been in the industry of social services, as she says. I've taught school. I have worked extensively through Obamacare programs. I've done education outreach and enrollment for all types of social services. And I'm actually working on a government program now as well. But my thing is, I want everyone to win. I want everybody to know that there's somebody that's listening to them. There's a difference in hearing and listening. Hearing is actually sound going into the body and your eardrum vibrating. Listening requires comprehension. So if you're listening to somebody, you're comprehending what they're saying, you're analyzing it, and then you're acting on it. So there's a difference in hearing someone and listening to someone, and that can make the difference in their whole life. So I'm so happy to be here. As you said, I do have two, I don't have children now, I have people. So I have two wonderful people. My daughter Danielle is an actress, a model, a choreographer, a dancer, and she's on everything. You'll see her everywhere. And then my son used to be a child actor, but he decided when he was 8 that he no longer wanted to be in front of the camera. He's behind the camera. So now he's actually a production manager here in Vegas. He owns his own videographer business as well. And he also does staging and lighting. So I'm just happy to be here and share everything I have experienced with all of you.
Right.
Thank you for being here.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Yes, thank
Denise,
you.
I want you to just talk a little bit about after losing, because you lost both parents, and we're going to dive into that, right? But where did Heart to Heart Visionary Concepts? Talk about that. Just let them know how that was birthed.
Well, Heart to Heart Visionary Concepts actually came to me after my mother passed away. When you talk about losing something, a loss is actually defined as an unsuccessful attempt in retaining something valuable. Because you can have people pass away and it's sad, but the next day you're okay because you don't really feel a loss. It has to have a certain value to you. So essentially, my father was mean as a snake, but there were times that he was just this wonderful human being as well. But I was not close to my father, and I always feared that my father would pass away without ever having actually hugged me and saying, "I love you." And he was brought up as a man's man. I mean, he was in World War I, World War II, and men didn't show feelings. And that was my greatest fear, and it actually came to pass. So I wasn't that close with my father, but my mother was the complete opposite. And she loved you to the point that she would correct you with a switch, but she loved you with everything she had and with her spirit. And she poured that spirit to you. So that was a huge loss for me. And when I actually had to sit back and look at the two and say, I didn't cry like this when Daddy passed away. I didn't even, I was kind of okay once I got back to my state. But my mother passed away, and it dragged on so long that when one of my nieces called me and said, Grandma's passing's coming up, and it's been 6 years. I said, no, it wasn't. It was. And then when she quoted the year, to me, it was still yesterday. It had been 6 years, and I was still dealing with it. And so I wanted to do something that embodied what she was about. I wanted to take people's heartfelt thoughts and create their visions out of it. And that way, whether it was a business idea, whether it was something as small as getting over something, I wanted to be that consultant in place to kind of bridge the gap between a thought and a concept and then a realized idea. And that's where that came from.
Awesome. I'm going to pause there and bring in our next two guests because we're going to talk about the spiritual perspective. This next gentleman, I've known him for over about 42 years because my brothers are a little younger than me. Jermaine and I are 6 years apart, and Jamar 18. I've been knowing this guy for, I think we said, over 42 years. He is our family. We grew up living literally next door to each other on the same street. Not only is he just a childhood friend of ours, he has become family, his family to ours, our family to his mother and my mother loved each other, honey child. They loved each other so much, right? And so we are so excited. We've been talking. He didn't know this. My brothers and I have been trying to get him on the show, right, brothers, for a couple of shows.
Yeah, we couldn't wait.
And so I said, okay, I'm reaching out to him. Now, he has a name that he's known by. I'm not going to say it. I'm going to introduce him by his legal name, right? His name, which is Stephen Williams. And I want to bring him to the platform right now. Mr. Stephen Williams, welcome all the way from Texas.
Hey, what's up, Stephen?
Hi, everybody. What's going on?
How are you?
I'm happy to be here and see your faces. I haven't seen you guys in so long. I'm listening to you describe and introduce me, and we were next door neighbors. Okay, and as far as I'm concerned, once a neighbor, you're always a neighbor, and then our friendships Deshaun and I, Jermaine, Jamar. Again, I mean, we all have stories and segments and phases that we all went through together.
Right.
So junior high school, watching Jamar. I mean, just grow up from a little baby on his tricycle to a bike to a riding Jermaine's bikes. It's just we've gone through so much, and it's wonderful to see you guys. I mean, it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know if Deshaun has elaborated on our history other than us just being we're practically family. I watched their father and their mom as teachers. We had wonderful role models in our neighborhood.
Yes. Yeah.
Today's children do not have communities like we had when we were young.
Yes.
Right.
It's gone. It's gone because of course, technology has taken children to a blinders mode where they just the head down in the phone. When we were kids, we were outside. We come home from school. Homework was later. We go outside, and it was bonding. It was whatever. If it was playing tag, it was. I'm chasing Deshaun around the car because we got a crush on each other. It's just crazy. I mean, it's just crazy how things are. But I miss. Oh my gosh, I miss so much the way we grew up.
Right.
Because we had foundations, and my spiritual part of this, me being here, other than wanting to see my friends from so many years, is we grew up with a wonderful foundation.
Yes.
A lot of people don't have the foundation that we grew up with, which is two parents.
That's right.
Who loved each other.
That's right.
And they were our role models.
Yes.
And so how can you not grow up as outstanding individuals when you have two parents that are teachers, molding minds,
yes,
wonderful examples, hardworking. And so me being the baby of three boys, and I'm 54 years old, I'll be 55 on Valentine's Day. I'm just letting you guys know that being the baby, I had so many examples from my two older brothers, but the most important was my pop and my mom.
Yeah.
Okay, so losing my mom and dad, I got to tell you guys, cancer took my mom and dad. And so I guess when you understand cancer has no prejudice, it has no color, it's a horrible disease that I think they meaning the medical field, I wish they could cure it. I wish they had a shot that they can give, my parents, so they're still here, because I miss them dearly. But when cancer is there, me being the baby, my family always hid things from me to keep me focused. So I didn't know my dad was sick until it was too late. So I lost my dad in 2009. I was trying to return home, and to tell you guys this, Jermaine, Jamar, Deshaun, I've always wanted to live in Torrance. I wanted to be close to the beach. And Jermaine, Deshaun, you guys know, all my activities were out by the beach.
Outdoors, yeah.
But I was going to the beach so I can go enjoy myself, play basketball all day, no arguing. And I was playing basketball with surfers. But once everything was over, I would go to the ocean. And I mean, that's the luxury you have of us living so close to the beach.
Right.
I would go back there, and then my little spiritual setting was just me looking out into the sunset and listening to the waves crash.
Right.
And I miss that so dearly. So I go out there with my pops. We take strolls out there. I go out there with my older brother. My mom took us to Manhattan Beach a lot.
Mhm, mhm.
And so, the memories that I have from my mom and dad are etched in stone. My mother being an artist. Now, Denise, my mom was in social services and she worked with underprivileged families in Watts and so forth. And but she was also an artist, a painter.
Right. Yes.
And I didn't know my mom was as talented as she was until I saw some of her drawings when she passed away. When my older brother started bringing me into a lot of things that I didn't know about my mom. So my mom, before she passed, you guys, we lost dad and we lost pop in '09. We lost my mom in 2013. She went into remission in 2012. Okay. And one of the things that I wanted my mom and dad, both of them, to do is to see their baby boy, my family, as they love my wife and our boys. At the time, we only had one boy, but Tori. But I wanted them to see their baby boy's home and the foundation that they instilled in Oliver, David, and myself. They were able to see Ollie's home. They were able to see David's home, and it was my turn. So I wanted them to be proud of their youngest, and my family, and my home, and the education that we got from the University of Illinois, and we're all ex-football players. Jermaine, Deshaun, Jamar. They know that we were somewhat not famous, but we made it extensively far in professional sports, just from the streets that we grew up on in front of our house, in front of Deshaun's house, in front of Deshaun's house, and a few houses down. Everything happened in front of Deshaun's house because we play football pole to pole.
Yeah.
And then when Jermaine got big, he jumped out there with us. I think some of Jermaine's athleticism came from us.
Right. No, that's
playing
facts.
together.
That's facts.
It all came from us because Oliver and David did it. And then, his Dink, me, that's my nickname, Dink. So Dink, we're playing pole to pole, and then guess what? Jermaine started getting bigger. I don't know, Jermaine, what would you like? 11, 10?
Yeah, right.
You were out there playing with us when we 15.
Yeah.
Here comes your skills naturally came from us bonding and playing as kids.
By playing with you guys, when I went to the field to play with guys my age, I was dominant.
So you were with us and learning and growing your skills, and then you got to the next level. You get with your age group. Hey man, Jermaine is ridiculous. Where'd you get all your skills from? Right. And it all came from pole to pole in front of your house.
I'm gonna jump in because I need to bring on the third guest.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
This is the platform. This is what we do. Listen, thank you. I also want to say that Stephen and Jermaine graduated from Sarah. Dink was there first. Right. I just want everybody.
Right. I was there first. It's now co-ed, but it's a football powerhouse now. They just want to say I have championship, Jermaine.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
SERA, baby. Right. Sarah.
And
by the way,
and Sarah was my first teaching. That's what I taught when I came out of college.
That's right.
I taught at SIS, so I'm
that's
all
right.
about this house.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Hey, Jermaine, remember we used to ask your daddy to move the Volkswagen so we could play?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We had that all the cars out there.
I am introducing the next guest. Thank you so that we are staying focused on the past. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are talking about healing from a perspective of spirituality. I have great people to share their stories. This next woman that I am bringing, I have been knowing Denise for over 30 plus years. We met at Howard University. When I first got there, I told her she reminded me of an auntie of mine. She took me under her wing. Both wings. She has just been a phenomenal light in my life, strength in my life, wind beneath my wings. She is just phenomenal tenure professor at Howard University in the College now of Fine Arts. And she is just phenomenal in all that she does. She's lost her mother. She's here to talk about her journey and what she does and all of her ministry businesses. Listen, I don't want to keep talking. I want her to get here so she can talk as well. Without any further ado, my sister friend, my soror, my beautiful sister from another mother who my mother loved till she left this earth, Miss Denise Joy Hart. Welcome, Denise.
Thank you so much. Y'all touch me. I said, dang, I forgot my tissue. All these people dropping all this goodness up here. And I'm so honored to be here. You're right. Your mom always called me her East Coast daughter, and it was a joy and an honor to have that role in her heart. And I was just looking at the question and meditating on, where to start the healing, and it got me to thinking about it more specifically. And I realized that I have an agreement with God, and that agreement is to respect God's order. That God's order is there's life and there is death. That's God's order. I don't really get to have a say in it. I just get to respect it. And so I realized that in between life and death, they say it's a dash. And that my responsibility is what I'm going to do with that dash. And so when I look back and think about, I did not have two parents in a home. My mother was a single mother. I often tell people when I go out to speak professionally, I lived in 13 different homes from the time I was born till I was 17. And no, we were not in the Army. we faced plenty of financial hardship. And as a result, I was not close to my mother. I missed out on that closeness that I wished we could have had. But I understand as I matured and got older that a lot of that is because my mother worked multiple jobs. The latchkey kid, I was sitting on the step with the key, middle child, going in the house to cook meals at 9. And, real talk, not a Lifetime movie, but a real, true, everyday experience. And my mom passed in 2006, and my mother never told me she was proud of me. I had a lot of uncertainty, instability, discomfort. I also do interior design, and I tell people the real truth is because moving 13 different times, I had to take a room apart and put it back together lots of times. I had to carve out a special moment. I didn't know I was going to be there. Wow. So it became a natural outgrowth for me to use my creativity. I paint. The paintings behind me are actually paintings that I painted. So I paint and I design spaces and I educate. But my mother never told me she was proud of me except the night before she died. My mother said to me, I have always been proud of you. And that night, in that day, I knew my mother was going to pass away that night. I looked around the room at my siblings wondering, can't they see? But they were thinking we were coming back tomorrow. And I thought the way she said it, and I knew that she knew she had never told me she was proud of me. She too knew this was it. Because that deathbed confession thing, that was the moment for her. That was her moment. And I grabbed her hand and I said, would you like me to do your hair? I did her hair. I did her feet. I groomed her hands and massaged her because I too knew this was it. But I remembered that agreement. I agree to respect God's order because I don't have no say in it. That this was a moment to honor. This was her transition. It was not mine. I didn't get to try to control it because I don't get no say. Because I go always back to my agreement is to respect God's order. And when I get out of order where I'm not respecting God's order, it's a repercussion for that. It's a lot of extra turmoil, just a lot of extra, right? So, but after that, I said, well, God, what's my lesson? Right? Because I also believe that when someone transitions, I have an opportunity to be self-reflective and say, what's my lesson? And my lesson became that healing does not have to mean the person is still there with you. That I, from a spiritual perspective, could continue to heal that relationship. And I have, believe it or not, closeness with my mother now that she's gone than she was here.
Yeah.
My mother and I are so spiritually close and connected, and you know how Black folk do. You speak to your ancestors. What my mother do, and I have my down days, but I also have so much joy.
Yeah.
There's so much goodness that has come out of her transition earlier than I would have preferred, because I would have preferred that she
Mm-hmm.
would have stayed here physically so we can
Mm-hmm.
do that healing and create that closeness. But I still got it.
Wow. Denise, so powerful. What a
Yeah,
powerful perspective, right? Right,
very powerful.
everyone? Such a powerful. I love when you said to respect God's order.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah. I want to ask Denise Hawkins, how did you find the way back to your faith after losing? You were close with your mom, right? Our next question, moving
Yeah.
into that, let's dive into that, right? What did it look like for you turning back? And then I'm going to get to our other guests, go right back to them. Denise, how did you turn back to your, because you were raised, Christian and loving God, right? And then here's your mom, who we used to jokingly say that it was Father, it was God, Jesus, the Holy Spirit, grandmother.
Grandmother. Exactly. And for me, it wasn't that I lost my faith. I was wavering because I didn't understand. But we have to remember that his ways we're not going to understand because we're not on the same level. And I literally had to make the decision amongst all my family members. They watched me make the decision to take my mother off of life support. And
Yeah.
I prayed about it the night before. And I too respected the decision. And what I literally told the physicians in our family meeting was that we're going to take her out of the physician's hand and put her in God's hand. If he wants her here, he'll blink his eyes, she'll get up and dance a jig. If not, she'll cross over. And when I went and talked to her and held her hand, she opened her eyes. And that was the last time I saw those little blue eyes. And she opened her eyes and looked at me. And she actually made scissors with her fingers and pointed at herself and pointed at the machines. And that was where I made my healing started, because I wasn't going to heal unless I wanted to heal. And I had to realize that it's not my choice. It's not my life. It was her life. It was her spirit. And when she said, I'm ready to go see him, who am I to stand in the way?
Yeah.
And it wasn't something that, boom, now I'm healed. No, that was just me saying, I'm ready to accept my healing. And so I didn't lose my faith. That was where I had to stand in my faith. I think you stand in your faith in the middle and despite what's going on. I mean, if you think about Moses, the Lord told him, cross the desert, I got you. He wandered around for 40 years,
Yeah.
but the entire time he was standing in his faith. He was lost physically, but spiritually, you're not lost. So
Good.
you don't get lost spiritually. You stand there and wait for it. Sometimes it says, be still and know that I'm God. If you're moving a little too fast, you need to stop and wait and listen to see which way he wants you to go. And so at that moment, when I knew that I was going to have to make the hardest statement and the hardest decision of my life, to either listen to what they're telling me or be selfish, that was the hardest point of my life. And going back to your faith, you're not ever going to be out of it. Once you have it, it's yours forever. Now, whether you water that plant and it grows or it withers above ground, because even if a plant dies, the seed is still there. If somebody else comes along and waters that ground and fertilizes it, up comes some more grass. So your faith is going to always be there. It's how you water it, how you bring it back, and when you stop and listen for direction.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm hearing right, Jamal, Jermaine. Stephen, losing your father, then years later, not so many years later, losing mom, right? What did you do? What did you stand in? How did you recover from that?
I was elated when my mom on her remission. Um, I saw my mom with all her hair gone, and her always wearing a scarf. Her eyebrows are gone from the chemo, and I thought she was. I had to fly out and see her because at the time we were in Massachusetts. We've been all over the nation because of my wife's profession. So her being a kindergarten teacher, special needs kids, K through 2, By the way, guys, yes, I married a teacher.
Nah.
But so Joyce would be proud of me. I think your mom would be proud of me.
Yeah, she
Uh,
would.
22 years, February 12th. We
Wow.
will celebrate 22 years, you guys. So
Wow.
I would just say that moving all over the country, not knowing how bad my mom was until I saw pictures of it. And Oliver called. It's strange. It's like if you don't hear from your siblings, everything's okay. When Oliver calls me, what's wrong? And he told me, I think you better get on the plane because if you guys see over here, let me see. I work for United Airlines. So I can get on a plane and go anywhere I want to go. And so I jumped on the first thing smoking because Oliver, I heard it in his voice. And he said, you need to come right now. My mother was in the hospital. And when she saw me, opened her eyes and saw me, you guys, that was 2012 that when I went to see her in Kaiser in Harbor City. And she opened her eyes and she looked up and she saw her baby boy there. So there's Dave, there's Ali, then I showed up. And so we had to go out of the hospital after my mom saw me and talk about what we're going to do once, because we know it's just inevitable. We can't do anything about it. So let's just start preparing. What do we want to do when it happens and she's with daddy? What do we do? What are we going to do with the house? Do you want it? I'm like, why are you guys talking like she's gone already? She's still here. I mean, what did mommy and daddy tell us about? We're in the best position because parents are not supposed to pass before their kids. We don't pass before your kids. So guys, we're okay. We're okay. I watched my mom and dad smoke for umpteen years, putting towels under my door. One day I told my mom, because they had my foundation was looking at their marriage. And I told her, I said, Mommy, you are beautiful, but you stink. This is when I was a kid. No, I mean, you guys are laughing, but as a child, I wondered why my mom smelled like perfume and smoke. She smelled like cigarettes. And I'm like, Mommy, would you please stop that? Stop it, because I understand, as a little kid, cancer's bad.
Yeah.
And so I would put towels under my door because they going back and forth, drinking coffee and getting ready for work. And smoke's coming under my door. And she come in and kiss me, Stevie, get up, it's time for school. And I smell Chanel number 5 and Marlboros. And I'm like, Mommy, that stuff's gonna hurt you. Stop it. I want you to be here for my kids.
Yeah.
So guys, long story short, how I got over it is I'm living my life through my mom and dad's marriage. Because this right here on my finger is so important to me from my mom and dad's marriage. So here is my spiritual guidance right here.
Yes, come on.
That's my spiritual guidance right there.
Yes, show it.
Yeah.
Say their names.
Beautiful family.
Say their names. Say who they.
Okay, I'm sorry if you guys can see this, but the tall one over there, that's Tori. He's 17, and that little guy right there, who leaves Cheetos in the pantry at night, talking about I didn't do it. That's Trent. Here's my spiritual guidance right here.
And what is my friend name? Your wife?
My wife's name is Eddie.
Edna.
Okay, and she is a beautiful lady that she was so spiritually, she was so hard to find.
Yes.
And when I found her, I said, here I go. I'm gonna live my life my way. But my foundation from my parents and the way they fought, the way they loved each other, the way they worked, work ethic, love your wife, be faithful. If you commit 100%. And I'm happy is all outdoors, because before my mom passed, she went into remission after she saw me, is what I'm trying to tell you guys. And guess what? 2013, I flew my mother out to see me. And she got off that plane and walked down that hallway, and I saw her with hair back. I saw her with her eyebrows. And she goes, Stevie, I just want to come see your house. I want to see my babies. And she came home. She spent Thanksgiving with us.
Yeah.
And she went back to California, and she joined my dad.
Yes.
Right after she saw us, I got pictures of it. It was the most touching thing. And she was somebody that you guys, I think you guys could understand. I thought my father was a rock.
Yes.
That was the stone and the foundation of our family. And then here's mom, just the glue to everything.
Yes.
So she was a team mom. She took Jermaine, me, all the kids to our games.
Yes, she did.
If it wasn't Jermaine, if it wasn't for me and Jermaine, Titus, Tony, all the kids that we grew up with, the community and the family foundations in our neighborhoods. I don't know if it's in your families, but I take that and it's in my family now.
That's right. That's beautiful.
Okay, so spiritually, you guys.
That's beautiful.
My marriage keeps me so strong.
Right.
And I'm following the footsteps of my mom and dad. Because I don't know how my mom went into remission after she saw me in 2012.
Right.
And Ollie was like, it's a miracle. Mommy's like, she's in remission. I'm like, she's getting healthier. She's starting to eat food.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then she calls me up one day, and it's just like, and it's crazy, you guys. I was so close to my parents that there's times that I just wish I could just pick up the phone and call mom and dad.
Yes.
That's still there. I just want to call.
Oh yeah.
When my dad is watching the Lakers game, Pops, what you doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody probably does that. You wish you could just pick up the phone and just call.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. So it's it's that right there is still there.
Yeah.
But I know they're looking down on me because before I put an ounce of food in my mouth, I work nights, graveyard. I talk to my parents at night and I say hello. I look up at the stars and I just say, "Hi, you guys. How you doing? We're struggling, but we're together. Everybody's still healthy, and we miss you." But before we eat, our boys, my wife, we give thanks and we say, Mama, Papa and Baby. The boys call my mom and dad Papa and Baby. We miss you. We love you. Thank you for the foundation you set every night.
What a beautiful tradition.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got everybody over here crying. They talking about you done. Wait a second. Right? What a beautiful tradition. Legacy.
Yeah.
Denise, for you, what was been your take or perspective on faith after the loss of your mom? Anything you haven't shared on that?
I can't say that I ever lost faith at all because again, I had studied religion and spirituality for many, many years. And again, I just had this abiding agreement, as I say, that I agree with God's order. Yeah. That with God has designed an order, I want to honor it and respect it. And like I said, figure out what is my lesson, my takeaway. And I had two major ones. One was that I was called to do a practice of forgiveness with my father, who had abandoned my sister and brother and I, and went on a 10-year journey of activating that practice. It was very difficult because I used to say I had no father, and God told me one day, "Why are you lying to yourself? He's alive and well. I give you the assignment to do this." And so I went forth and did that. And then the second was that my mother was such an incredible visionary. She was a designer who could make anything out of nothing. Like I used to be so surprised we get somewhere new and it would look like we lived there for a long time. She just took little and she could just make it look like much. And so when I started my interior design firm, I wanted to name it something that meant a lot. My middle name is Joy. I always jokingly say I got joy in the middle of my heart. And so when I named my interior design firm, I named it the Furaha method because Furaha is Swahili for joy. And my mother named me Joy for a reason. That I wanted to make sure that I always elevated that perspective, that truth, and that possibility, and to provoke it in other people. So I don't really recall that I ever lost faith in any real way.
Good. Okay. I love it. I love it. I
Mm-hmm.
love the joy. I love it. I want to just, before we begin to go to our takeaways, as a woman myself for over 20 years who, coach women and men, and I come across, people who are hurting and moving through their dark hours and their breakdowns in their lives and wanting to get back, um, in their groove and be progressive and successful. And sometimes there's a cloud between coping versus healing. As we've all have lost, our parent or both parents in this platform today. I just want to ask quickly, what is your take on coping versus healing? How did that happen for you or show up for you? Or did you think about it? Was it one and the same? Was it different? Just want to just hear your take on that. Stephen, let's start with you. Anything in terms of you coping versus healing, or did it all seem to be the same or different for you during, as you were, grieving and moving through losing both of your parents?
It's simple. If I wish they were both here to this day to see our new home that we just purchased a year ago. And as I keep saying that, I always wanted to just make my parents proud of me, other than sports. And so Dad used to always say, you guys are there, you got your scholarships, your full ride scholarships, but you're there. So get your education. Please get your education. I know you guys can do it. We did it. We thrived in that. Move forward. Healing is because cancer took my mom and dad, and stomach cancer and ovarian cancer. I healed because, my father saw Trent when he was a baby before he passed away. He got to see his 7th grandkid. And then my mom got to see her baby's first home in Boston, Massachusetts. And they went away. But they're still with us. I healed because they both got to see, the youngest boy, because of 7 grandkids that they have.
Yeah.
They're complete. I think okay, we're complete. Stevie's got his babies. I'm sorry, the ladies in my family calls me Stevie. So my mom would say Stevie's got his family. He's doing just fine. I love his wife. She loved my wife. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
She loves all her daughter-in-laws, but it was just wonderful to see them when they passed. I think they were content on what was happening to them because it was cancer. However, my healing was because they saw their 7th grandkid and their baby boy is doing okay.
Yes.
I carry on through them every day. I am healed because I think my family was complete, and so they were able to pass on. It's weird to say that, but
no.
The way my mom passed, it was after she left us.
Yes.
Visiting us.
It was.
She had enough strength. She had enough strength to get on that plane,
right,
and freeze it. And when she came, it was Thanksgiving, November. November in Boston, Massachusetts is awful, freezing cold. But my mom's a Chicago girl. She grew up in Chicago. Her and my dad. So they moved to L.A. Well, I wasn't even born yet. So they're used to cold, but they got out of Chicago for a reason. So when she came back, my mother saw our home, which is a colonial. And that's the style of home that her and my dad grew up in. And it just reminded her so much of Chicago. And it warmed my heart that my mom felt so at home and in my home.
Yeah.
And just the healing from them, the way my mom went to heaven, I was content. So I wasn't coping with it, although I want them to be here now.
That's right.
But I still speak to them on a nightly basis. Every day that I breathe and I clock into work, I look up at the stars, you guys, and I just say, Pops, how you doing? Mommy, we hung your painting. My mom painted. Deshaun, she made a painting, and for all 3 of us before she passed.
Oh.
She made a lowrider for Ollie. She painted it. Okay. Now, and then she made a golf course for David.
Oh my gosh.
And then she painted a turquoise, beautiful setting of Manhattan Beach for me.
Oh,
Blue
wow.
Pacific. Blue Pacific.
That's nice.
And I still watch Sanford and Son because of my daddy. There you go.
Thank you. I love it. Denise
Yeah.
Hawkins. Denise Hawkins, coping versus healing. Miss Hawkins.
I don't know, I want to say this really quickly because I believe that God gives man knowledge, and that's why the scientific and all my education side of this is enveloped in this answer. Coping is actually defined as dealing effectively with something difficult. Dealing effectively with something difficult. That means there's no resolution. You're dealing with it. It's ongoing. It's like taking blood pressure medicine. It helps you deal with the blood pressure, but it doesn't heal it. It doesn't cure it. Now, healing is to alleviate distress or anguish, to become sound or healthy again, to put right. If you're going to become something again, you've got a resolution. You're going back to a proper state. You're becoming sound. And then to put right, meaning you're going into the way that you were meant to be. So a lot of people cope for years and years and years, including myself. I used to tell people it's not, they say, you got to get over it. I said, it's not something you get over. It's something you learn to manage. But why am I managing something that wasn't meant for me? Because the Lord wants you to have joy and have it more abundantly. He wants you to live. He gave you power, love, joy, and a sound mind. So do I want to become sound again? Do I want to have that joy again? Then I need to quit coping and get off of my pity party and get moving, accept what happened, because I can't change what happened 5 seconds ago. But in the next 5 seconds, I can create something in the future. So what we have to learn is, for me, it was realizing that I was coping. I was dealing with it. When I let that go, because it wasn't mine anyway, then I was able to have it all. My mama used to say, if you're going to pray, don't worry. If you're going to worry, don't pray. You're wasting time.
Okay, right.
Because if you're worrying, there's no belief. And if you got to believe to receive. So once I accepted my fault in it, I had to actually say, oh, you know what, Jesus, I'm sorry. He had the solution sitting there the whole time. And I'm just going, but Lord, I need help. But Lord, I need help. Okay, I had to stop and say, wait a minute, this is already done. So once people stop coping and start realizing you don't have to live like that. You don't have to feel like that. You're never lost. You're never alone, because there's a simple test I do with people that come to me for help. I tell them, stop talking and just put your hand on your chest. You put your hand on your chest. Can you feel your chest rising and falling? Can you feel your heart beating? Are you thinking about doing that, or is it doing it on its own? You have nothing to do with your life. Jesus is already taking care of all of that so that you can live. So all I ask is that I want everybody to live, no matter what it looks like, no matter what it feels like. Know that he's there with you, and stop coping and start healing.
I love it.
God bless you all.
Yes, yes. Oh my goodness. Okay, I love it. I hear it. Oh my goodness. Miss Denise Joy.
Hey, listen, y'all been turning this thing all the way out. I'm taking notes and everything. No lie up in here. You guys are amazing. I got so much out of what everyone has said. I fundamentally believe in healing above all else. I'm really never interested in coping with anything. Again, I just had a pretty deep spiritual practice from a pretty young age when spirituality wasn't really the cool kids things to do. And so I remember people would say to me, oh, it seems like when you speak about your mother's death, you don't care. I said, oh, that is so wrong. That is so wrong. Just because I'm not in perpetual grief energy does not mean that I don't deeply, deeply love and miss my mother. That's so wrong. The highest honor is to heal wholeness and completeness. And then what lesson and what reflection will you do with your life to honor those
Amen.
transitioned onward? So
Mhm.
I just, you know, I've matured now. I don't really kind of, you know, dust the shoulders off with someone. They just don't know yet. They just don't know yet. They will face it because, right, God's order is life, then death, and the dash, and to respect that order. So I believe in healing. I practice, as you heard me say many times before, Deshaun, listen, obey, prosper is the fundamental life principle that I adhere to and heed by. Listen for God's voice,
Mm-hmm.
to what that unction is. That prosperity will always be manifold, whether it is personal to me or for the multitude. And so that is part of my healing process. It's ongoing, you know, every day. Stephen, every day.
Yes, ma'am.
Me and my
Yes.
mom just talking. I love to cook. My mother was a great cook. I know I
Yeah.
carry this thing forward. I said, how much should I put in here? Because you know we say keep putting the season to the ancestors tell you to stop. I said, how much should I put in here? You know, so that's that whole healing, coming into agreement with God's order and not trying to resist God's order because He bigger than me.
Yes.
Always
Yes.
have been, and always will be.
Yes. Well, you know what, brothers, we couldn't have had a grander show for in 2021, right? Like,
Wow.
do
Yeah,
we
no,
have
this
the
is
beast
great.
here? Do we have the platform of these huge leaders that are speaking from their hearts, right? The
Beautiful,
Spirit is
beautiful,
speaking
beautiful, beautiful.
through them. I too am trying to keep it. Look, I got my tissue. I got my tissue too. You know, and I love it, what we've heard. And before we release, because I'm going to allow for you three guests to give your final thought. Okay, you're going to give a final thought. But my brothers and I, we always want to give our listeners, our viewers, remember, if you're watching the replay, you can put hashtag replay to put your comment suggestions. We're going to get back to you. Thank you for writing your comments and listening to us and being with us. But we want to give you some takeaways. And so Jamar is going to offer just 2 takeaways of today's topic, then Jermaine, and then myself. Then we're going to bring you right back to our phenomenal, just blessed guest today to give you their final thought. And yeah, I don't want to keep talking because I'm just blown away. Jermaine, your 2 takeaways for today's topic for our guests.
One of my takeaways is, you want to seek support. You want to talk to family members, your friends. You want to talk to somebody that's a mentor. You want to seek spiritual support as well. Don't be in the dark. Don't set yourself behind. Talk to people, be around people so you can get that feeling back, and so you won't be depressed and going to the depressed mode. So you want to seek support. Talk to people. You want to get out and reach to them and hang out a little bit. Don't sit at home and sit in the room and sit in the dark and do anything like that. And my second takeaway is celebrating your past, overcoming victories.
Yes.
Look into the past. Say, okay, I overcame this. I can overcome what's coming towards me right now. Don't. And then you want to also look back at what you have accomplished.
Yes.
Once you look back at things what you accomplished, and the next thing on your goal is, it's gonna be easy. You're gonna accomplish that.
Yes. Good stuff. Good stuff, brother. Thank you, Jamar.
Yeah, that was great.
Great?
I'm so filled right now. Everyone on this platform, our special guest today, I connected with everybody with their feelings and what they do as far as like keeping their loved ones in the light, even though they're not here physically, like keeping them still alive in a sense. Like I'm over here shaking because everyone on here, we have a connection. One of my takeaways is choose a healthy mindset. And I believe in choosing a healthy mindset means, wake up every day and give thanks. Talk to the person that you have lost. I speak to my mom, and when I'm in the shower, I'm saying, hey, Mom, I'm getting ready for my day. Watch over me. Bless me. Like, Jink, you said you get to work and you look at the stars. I'm in there saying, Mom, watch over me today. Hey, I miss you. And there are some times where I do forget to speak to her. But those times I remember, I'm like, sorry, Mom, I didn't talk to you yesterday, but I'm here today. So it's like keeping a healthy mindset, smiling, doing something good for yourself, because my mom would love for me to be doing good for myself. That's always what she wanted for myself and my brothers and sisters. It's like, do good for yourself. And my other takeaway is standing faith. it goes along with what Jermaine just said. You know, you got to talk to people. You have to join a club, join a council group or somebody. You have to speak to people. I have a buddy right now. He's losing his mom. With me talking to him about losing my mom, it's helping me be stronger about speaking about my mom's passing. And it's showing him a light of like, okay, it's not so bad that, you know, his mom is transitioning. So it's like you got to speak, got to be verbal. You have to just open your heart and also listen to other people's problems when it comes down to losing somebody. It's a horrible thing, but it's a booster in a sense. And you know, I believe you become stronger after you lose somebody. You become more connected to them in a sense. You talk to them more, even though they're not here physically. But yeah, those are my 2 takeaways.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. I love those. And then I just want to offer, you know, as a takeaway, and I said this earlier at the top of our conversation, in regards to peace for me, I had to find it in a new way, a new realm. And so my takeaway is to surrender to new beginnings. It's a new beginning. It's all new, you know, and we've all lost more than just our family members. Unfortunately, we've lost friends and, you know, aunties or uncles or grandparents, right? And that's unfortunate. And it's a new beginning because we're starting anew without that person that you love. Grief is, you know, unexpressed love. You know, you want to express love to the person that you knew and they're no longer here for you to do that. So we have to surrender to the new beginning. I just want that as a takeaway. And we always want our, you know, our viewers and listeners to be able to take tangible tools. Listen, if you didn't get these tools today, you know, from these 3 dynamic powerhouse giants on this platform today, I don't know what you were doing, because they gave so much of themselves and their perspective, which is why we hold the platform, because there's so many different, you know, ways to connect to losing someone, right? And recovering from that. And so this is why we have the platform, to hear the different, you know, insights and perspectives, because it's not just one way. It's not just one way. We're all different people. We're different human beings with different unique personalities. And you heard from 3 different phenomenal people today, you know, sharing, and they're doing phenomenal work, you know, in their personal life, in their families, in their professions, and they're still saying, yes, we can, to moving forward. I want them to give a final thought. I just want you all to just give whatever your final thought is before we're leaving, because during the holidays, we know what that time can look like, right? And my brothers and I really wanted this to be a part 2. We started the conversation in November for Thanksgiving holiday. And now, of course, as we're ending the year, we just wanted to have powerhouse people like yourselves. I'm not going to cry. That's me saying I'm not going to cry. To really give people inspiration and motivation, because I've seen these 3 people continue to live their lives after losing their loved one. I've seen Denise be empowered and empowered others. I've seen Stephen Dink. I've seen you move from, you was in the Carolina, then you went to Boston, now Texas. I've seen your children. I've seen your children, honey, grow up, and your wife, and you know, I've seen what you've done, and you've still said yes. I've seen Denise, my auntie Denise, say yes to what my auntie Denise tells me almost every day that she miss her mother. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you. She tell me, and I'm not. She tells me almost every day. You know, I miss grandmother. And last Christmas, my auntie Denise sent me a picture of me and my grandmother on the couch. A couple of yes, it was a Christmas picture, and she said, "I'm just sending you a little something." Well, when I opened it, I was a mess. You know, I'm like, "This is not a little something." So that's legacy. You know, we're still loving and still giving and still pouring into others. And so I thank you 3 for allowing yourselves to pour into others, even as you're still healing in your own spaces, in your own life. Denise did not say, Denise Joy, can you just please say quickly about your son, who your son is, what your son doing? You didn't say nothing about your son.
My baby boy. Oh my, That boy is not a baby boy. He grown. What come on, my baby? My son, he lives in LA with you LA folk, and he's a brilliant graphic designer and creative director. He has his own business. He also works as a creative director for Viola, a company there. He's just a dope dude. I mean, he's just a fly guy, dope dude, very sensitive soul. But I do want to give my little takeaway right here?
Yes, but I also just want to know, she calls him the Boy Wonder, and he also graduated from Howard University.
Nicknames, right? Wow. Like, I nickname everybody, so I'm like, half the time you don't even know somebody's name because I'm only ever using their nickname. Hold that. But I do want to say that I have two things, and that's I think that one of the things that I want people to take away with that work for me, might not work for you, but you take what you can. Celebrate how you are building on what they stood for. Mm-hmm. Celebrate how you build on what they stood for. Not what they even did, but what did they stand for? That's a value-centric type of moment right there. How can you say, I represent and reflect this value that they stood for, and I want to pull that in. The second thing is honor your loved one by taking your gifts and serving other people. And I'm going to make you cry right now, Deshaun Antoinette Booker, because I could have said no when you asked me to get on a plane and come and be there at your side when y'all's mother passed away. When we stood in there and you said to me that her makeup did not look like you wanted it to look. And you said, Denise, you can do it. I've never done nothing like that. But this is my sister friend. I could have said, I lost my mother. This is bringing me back into a flash, but that's where that healing versus coping comes in. Heal and to be whole. Because my mother was standing in the gap for anybody. I love everybody on this call. I love everybody who is watching. You can get through a moment like this because of this type of community. So thank you. I'm so honored y'all asked me to be here.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for your final thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stephen, your final thoughts?
My final thought is I'm healing. I've healed because my mom and dad are still my 100% foundation. Okay. Right. And it's how my family is that's how my wife and I are 22 years. And they see the love that I have for their mom. They see mom and dad around the house doing things together where we always speak as a team, and traditions, teaching my son how to make pancakes. That's from moms. And then Christmas is so special because I'm going to show you guys a picture, and I want you guys, we call my dad Smooth because he could be Nat King Cole's brother. We put on Nat King Cole Christmas album and the Jackson 5 Christmas album every year. That is the Williams tradition. Right. This is my mom and dad. I'm going to leave y'all with this right here. That's my foundation right there.
Oh, beautiful.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
beautiful. Oh gosh. This
is how I heal. Jamar, I say hi to him every night.
Beautiful.
Every night, man. That's Oliver and Barbara Williams. That's my foundation.
That's right.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
That's
beautiful
it.
Takeaway. Thank you. Denise, Miss Denise Hopkins.
Okay, I'm not gonna cry. I'm going to give you the serious one first is remember that your direction is as crucial as your speed. So don't go nowhere fast. You can choose to travel towards coping, but that allows you to remain a victim and keep everything about you. Because people say it's an excuse. Well, I lost my mom. Well, she lost her mom. Okay, it was 10 years ago, but she's still coping with it. Or you can choose to go to healing just as fast or just as slow as you need to go. But there will be a resolution, and there is something at the end of the tunnel that you can reach. So make sure that when you choose the direction to go, you choose the right direction. Because if you're going in a direction and you're getting the same results, you might need to stop and ask God point you to the sign that takes you the right way.
That's right.
Now, the second takeaway that I was going to give you is before my mother passed, she gave my son and I, my son just loved my mother. She gave us a set of crystal turtle doves. and they're very small and fragile, but turtle doves actually mate for life. If one turtle dove dies, the other one only holds on to the memory and it never will take another mate.
Mhm.
That's what you have with Jesus.
Mm.
Once you meet him, you are mated for life and beyond.
Mm.
And I know that my mother's entire life, the only man she loved more than my father was Jesus. And
Mhm.
anybody that she could introduce him to, she did. And it was one of the last things she told me when I said, "Are you okay?" And she said, "Praise God." That's all she said. And she was in a coma at that time, falling in and out of a coma. But I know that God is real, because we gave her one turtle dove and we kept one and we put them on our tree every Christmas.
Mhm.
When my mother passed away, we searched and searched for the box and couldn't find it. When we eventually found the box and opened it, and my mother passed away right between Thanksgiving and Christmas, so we didn't even have Christmas in my house for 2 years. When we finally decided to put up a tree, and we opened up a box and we found the box, and I looked at my son, he looked at me and was like, "I don't know if I can do this because we don't have grandmothers." But my hand to God, when we opened that box, both turtle doves were in that box.
Yeah.
Wow. Right.
And we just put up a tree the other day, and I asked him, "Do you want to do this?" He said, "No, we're going to put them on Christmas Eve like me and Grandma used to do."
Yeah.
Oh
And
wow.
every time we put it up, it reminds us of that promise that no
Mhm.
matter what, you're mated with life forever with somebody who loves you more than anybody else, and that's Jesus. And no matter what you're going through, no matter how hard you cry, no matter what it looks like, he's there. He's
Yes.
still
Yeah.
there.
Yes.
And he's there with healing, not coping.
All
God
right.
bless you all.
Mhm.
Oh my
Thank
goodness.
you. God bless you.
I love
Listen.
listening to her.
I just want to give everyone an opportunity, if you want to connect to our guest today, right? I'm just trying to hold on. I want to find Denise's. I'm trying to look through my tears. Okay. We want to get in contact with Denise Hawkins here, Heart to Heart. What is the thing called? Period VC at gmail.com. If you want to get connected with her, so that she could, again, continue to pour into you, there is her email there. If you want to get connected with Denise, the motivation mama at gmail.com.
Right.
We don't leave you all out. We know you out there watching. We're gonna hook you up, right? And this is all for free. You just write it down and you follow through so that you can have a conversation. And of course, we're not leaving the man out. Blue Pacific 12 at gmail.com. We want you all to be able to get connected with this energy, with the vibrations, what they're offering you. They are available for you, to talk with you, to mentor you, to inspire you, to consult, to do whatever it is it looks like for you, right? And so we want you to make sure that you have their information. Again, it's here. We want you to be available, and they are available to you, because this is about, as you're hearing, healing. It is about having a full circle moment. And we're so grateful. We're so grateful that we have the platform. We don't always talk about this conversation. We don't always talk about it. And so we're just grateful that you have allowed us into your living rooms, your spaces today, that you can send this, share it, let people see, what and hear what the energy was about. Before our release, I always have my brothers give their final thought. Jermaine or Jamar, who wants to go? Doesn't matter to me. Who wants to
I'll go.
Okay.
First of all, I want to appreciate you guys for coming onto the show. You were phenomenal, outstanding.
Yeah.
You are always welcome back. Always welcome
Yes.
back. And
Yes.
thank you guys so much. This was a blessing for everybody.
This was a pleasure. This was a pleasure to see you guys. Nice to meet you, ladies.
Love you guys.
Thank you guys, and stay safe, stay healthy, keep wearing your mask. Follow your own rules. Stay indoors. Stay close to your own family. Don't get out there. But I want to thank you guys so much. This was so much. It was, I had little tears, but thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Love you guys.
Wonderful
Love
to be here.
Yeah, same here. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Everything everyone said was thrilling. It was energizing. It was uplifting. also, like I said, just always continue to smile, be as happy as you can. I know we have down days, but sometimes you got to just slap it on sometimes and, put that smile on and just give thanks to everything around you, no matter what's going on.
That's right. Yes, I just concur. What everyone has said. My final thought is continue to allow God's light to lead you in whatever direction you need to be redirected in. Take what you heard today and do some journaling behind it. You were given so many real, life examples of what human beings do when we, have lost a loved one. Journal those things. Bring those practices. They were sharing them. We were sharing them with you into your life. And I'm just grateful that we are here still in the legacy of our parents, right? And allowing God's purpose in us to still move forward. That is what I am grateful for. And again, thank you so much for being with us. As I say, it's legacy that lives. It's legacy that loves. It's legacy that liberates. And that's what we're all about, right? When we're talking about the legacy of those that, have gone on before us. I am going to do exactly what I heard. I'm going to be speaking more to mommy too. I talk to others that have gone. I talk to her a lot. Sometimes I be fussing at her, but I'm stop fussing. I be fussing. She's like, why are you fussing? I said, I don't know how nobody else fuss at. So, I still do a little bit of that, but I'm just grateful to Denise, my sister. I love you so much. I don't have words to ever tell you how much you mean to me. You know that, but I say it. Denise, my auntie, I call on you and cry to you all the doggone time. You make me laugh, and you just beautiful. Even in your dark moments, you're still such a light. Like you're always just pumped up. Like, dude, how do you do that? Stephen, you had me on the phone the other day for so long. We had so much to talk about here. Then we FaceTimed and he took me on a tour home, and it inspired me. It just inspired me. Dink, you do need to know that. I love your family. I love your wife.
Oh yeah.
That's my friend. And I love hearing your children. His son was fussing with him about what he wanted to eat and his snack. They went toe to toe for almost 30 minutes. We can't get into that. I loved it. So family is what we're talking about. Family. So listen, we just thank you all. Have a wonderful rest of your holiday. Before we leave, I always do have an outro. We used to have we have the video, but it isn't allowing us to play it at this time. But we do put up the photo of our mom, and we just say thank you, everyone, for allowing us today to share our journeys with you. They're not perfect, but it's who we are in the spirit of excellence. Right?
Hey, everybody, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. God bless you all.
Thank you for having me, you guys.
You got it. Anytime. Dink, I love you, boy.
I love you, man. I love you, Jamar. Deshaun.
Love you too, Dink.
I love you guys.
We love each other. I love you all. I just want to remove us so I can just have our last.
I love you, ladies too.
Don't leave just yet. I'm just removing us so that I can